by the sound of violence.
Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker, the main event of a UFC card, which I believe will go down in the annals of history. Not for its lineup, certainly not the undercard, which is about as underwhelming as Fight Night cards get these days. But will probably go down in history as having one of the UFC's most inexplicably silly fight posters. Have you seen this poster, Phil? Because Dan Hooker looks like...
Oh, what, the one with evil Dan Hooker?
Evil? No, he looks like he's smelling the undercard. It doesn't look like he's evil. He looks like something foul has happened in the room where this picture was taken.
Are you excited about it all?
What up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. We are an MMA podcast that talks about the MMA podcast you should catch, skip, and can't miss each week. I am Pulver, and I am back yet again with my co-host, Chris Madaffer. What up, dude?
Sober this time, and last time you saw me, I was definitely drunk.
Yeah, we were drinking. We were on a good one last time.
Yeah, I think I was stressed out about something too. I can't remember what the fuck it was, but it doesn't matter.
The world, whole, maybe?
Yeah, right? Just the whole pandemic, and we're not going to get into political, but a certain government's policies.
You mean all of our countries?
Yeah, well, pretty much every country's government policies, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, that doesn't matter. We're here to talk about fights, not politics, because who the fuck would want to do a political podcast anyway?
Yeah, although I have a feeling it'll end up coming...
who makes fun of politics.
Yeah.
Then I could get down with that.
I have a feeling it'll end up coming up anyway with fucking Mike Berry on this card, but...
Oh, that whole thing? Yeah,
I mean,
I don't even think I
just
saw
anytime Mike
fight.
Berry opens his mouth, it ends up being political, it seems like, but...
Yeah.
He's
He's a character.
Well, anyway, since you're not drinking this episode, I'm guessing you don't have a Papa Vodka Presents Doug Stanhope Presents your sponsor. But do you have like a normal person 10 a.m. West Coast version of a drink that you're having?
I wish I could say I was having a Bloody Mary right now, but I got work later in a little bit. I'm just having coffee.
Oh, like a responsible adult?
Yeah.
I fucks with it.
I am a coffee fiend. So I think it was Marea Coffee. They're like a local San Diego roaster.
Nice.
It's like spelled Marea.
That's what's up.
Yeah, keep supporting local businesses.
That's right. I actually, right before we started, just drank a big-ass cup of the Modern Times Black House, which I'm a big fan of.
Ooh.
It's like their standard house
in a
blend, and
while.
it's real good.
And then, do they still do their cold brew in the cans?
I think they do, yeah. I rarely see it around, but then again, I'm not often looking in the cold brew section of liquor stores, so.
Yeah, and I think usually I've always picked it up like just at one of their locations.
Yeah, I know like Jimbo and Par, and some people sometimes have it, but cool, man. Well, I'm not doing shit today except for probably eating an edible later and. I don't know, probably editing this show. So I decided at 10:30 a.m. in the West Coast, I should not only try this Tiki Sour from North Park Brewing Company. I just recently tried North Park for the first time this weekend since they deliver out here right now. And I had they have a fest beer. I forget what it's called. It's like whatever their normal, Oktoberfesty kind of German fest beer. And it was fantastic. I got a growler of it for like $20. It was super good. And then I saw that they had this, which is Tiki Sour, and they describe it as a painkiller cocktail inspired Imperial Berliner Weiss. I guess it's just an Imperial.
That sounds good.
I guess it's technically an Imperial Weiss since they're not from Berlin, but.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, and so since I got that, I was like, oh, you know what? This looks really good, but I should also just make a painkiller to go with it. Which, by the way, just on color and appearance alone, these are almost identical looking. So I'm excited to try this.
Nice. Well, just be careful too. I'd probably drink the cocktail first, but I guess it really doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm gonna go back and forth. And by the way, just tried the beer. It's delicious. It's really, really close to a mimosa.
What's it called? Tiki Soda?
Tikicito. Tikicito.
Okay.
It's a Tiki Sour Ale is how they describe it. Yeah, really good, fruit forward, ton of orange and pineapple. Really good. It's got a little bit of coconut on the back end. And then I actually did make a regular painkiller with pussers. Pussers? I never know how to say that shit.
Oh, yeah, this looks really good.
Even rocking the nutmeg on top. Like a goddamn professional. My false idol glass. So, if I sound hammered halfway through this episode, y'all know why now. But yeah.
It's like, thanks for the warning. Just kidding.
For real. No, these are both fucking delicious. I
Yeah, this is a cool looking can,
beer.
too. Yeah, this looks like a good beer.
Yeah, I think it's like for a 4-pack, it was like $25 or something like that. $24, which is not bad at all.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find this, man. My day off is tomorrow.
Well, worst case, they deliver too, and it's only a $5 delivery fee, so.
Oh, like as far as out of range, or just is it just a fee no matter what?
I think it's just $5. I think it's just $5 to have it delivered to you.
Nice.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I know Jimbo's is carrying a bunch of North Park Beer Company, so I might have to see if they have it.
Yeah, I think this one just dropped pretty recently, so. Anyway, not a booze show despite my best efforts, but oh man, those are both the cocktail I made and the actual Tiki Cito is fucking great. I'm probably mispronouncing that. It's probably like Tiki Cheeto or Tiki Cito. I have no fucking idea.
It's probably Tiki Cito.
Sure. I guess on that note, we should probably get into format before I just start talking about cocktails for the rest of this episode, which, hey, by the way, cocktails are good, y'all. Let's see. I don't really have much news other than at the top, other than Anakin Florian might be off next week. And, I think Kyle McLaughlin from the Fight Site is probably going to be on a future episode of Heavy Hands here coming up, which they mentioned. And that's about it. There's another thing that I'll get to later, but not a ton of news coming out. Not surprising. Since I think, is the UFC off next week?
Yeah, I believe so.
I believe they are too, since next weekend's like 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
Actually, next Saturday is 4th of July. No, wait, that's June. No, yeah, next Saturday is 4th of July.
Is it on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least according to the calendar I'm looking at. So
I know I'm not working, so that'll be nice.
Nice. I will be out here in East County trying not to die from all the fireworks, I'm assuming.
Well, if you need a place to hang out, you come down here to Claremont, and we could have ourselves a pool party.
There you go. Unless we're all on lockdown again by then, which is starting to sound super possible.
Very fair point. Yeah, I'm already expecting the brewery that I work at, well, just any place to get shut the fuck down again. So not looking forward to that. Had to tell 2 people the other day, didn't come in with masks. I'm like, hey, you didn't see the sign out there. I'm just kidding. I wasn't a dick, but I basically was like, hey, you can drink a beer. You just got to sit outside and have your friend order for you. I don't necessarily not want someone to buy beer, but can't be inside. So, yeah, it's like
crazy fucking times.
Yeah, it's almost like some people don't know how to listen to certain simple rules.
It's almost like some people feel emasculated if they have to do anything that makes them feel uncomfortable. But it's probably just because we're betas, bro, and people like Joe Rogan and Dana White are super alpha.
Yeah, didn't you hear? You're a bitch if you wear a mask.
Yeah, no, we're obviously giant pussies, Chris. That's definitely the problem.
Dude, what was it? I'm almost anticipating and waiting. I hope someone gives me one of those fake ADA cards.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I don't think people in San Diego care enough. Like, they don't care enough to fake the fucking dog
I'd be like, sir, that's fraudulent. So...
And also, it arguably makes you an old white racist at this point.
Yeah, it's like, I imagine the only person coming in with one of those is like one of those where I saw a meme for it. The guy wears like some shitty looking, probably a MAGA hat if I'm being stereotypical. They have like the center fielder baseball sunglasses like this. They have a shitty, not a real tank top. It's like basically you cut off the sleeves off a t-shirt. That kind of shitty tank top, like a red tank top. They have like the old man single barbed wire across their arm.
You mean everyone in PB or OB?
Yeah, right. And then they have the fucking like the barbecue dad shoes, or not even that. It's like the Kirkland brand, like athletic shoes that are white. And yeah, you know what I mean, like those guys.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be glad you're not working in La Jolla, because I'm sure it's just that person everywhere all the time.
Oh no, my brother, he already told me. He's like, yeah, dude, there's like a lot of people in La Jolla that are just like rich and uppity and don't give a fuck.
Fuck yeah.
And I remember I was in La Jolla just last week. I was with my dad for Father's Day. And yeah, dude, I saw like people to my left at the restaurant I was at. I was like, dude, this guy, the fuck? Like, dude, stay the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh boy.
Yeah,
but I forgot, if you're rich, you can't get the virus, so it's all good.
No, obviously, yeah. No, it's fucking. If you're rich and you get the virus, you're probably friends with Jeffrey Epstein, according to the podcast I've heard this week. The fuck, man. People are. Goddamn comedians in LA are losing their fucking minds. Anyway.
I mean, a lot of things in LA and Hollywood.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a good segue to this week's card, since Mike Perry's girlfriend looks 12. So why don't we go ahead and get into format? I love that joke. Twitter's been killing it this week. Anyway, Chris, why don't you start us off, since we're rambling at this point. Why don't you start us off with the MMA podcast you recommend people catch this week?
MMA podcast people should catch this week. Well, I guess actually no, this one's I can't miss. Let me see.
I like how Chris is surprised by this every week. Like it's not a regular segment.
Yeah, right. I'm like, wait, what's this again? No, it's actually just because I have been not as organized as far as just sticking to segment lately. Because whenever I listen to podcasts, usually all on one day because I'm a moron. No, people should catch this week. For me, it's Heavy Hands. I know technically I listened to it yesterday.
Episode 322, which actually this is a catch for me as well.
Yeah, I should have listened to it earlier in the week, but I didn't. So, I mean, it was just mainly just me listening to their breakdown of last night's main event before the fight card. So, it was on the day of, so it's still appropriate. Didn't really jot down too many notes. Our intro that you heard was from this episode as well.
Yeah, where Connor had maybe my favorite joke. Because a lot of people had a lot of good jokes about how bad the poster was with Dan Hooker looking like he smelled something terrible. But Connor's joke about it looking like he smelled the undercard is fucking the reigning champ this week, without a doubt. So that shit was hilarious. And yeah, this is just a really good episode overall. I mean, I think at one point Zayn calls Josh Emmett Nosferatu, which is really fucking good.
Would you mean Phil?
Oh, Phil. What'd I say, Zayn? God damn it.
Well, he mentioned Zayn before.
I know, in that same one, yeah. And then I just was listening to the 6th round where Zayn quoted Phil, which is not helping either. So, yeah, fucking great episode, though. And, yeah, I mean, Phil's fucking hilarious. But they also had some interesting comparisons on, like, the differences between Blades' cardio and the way he uses it versus, like, Kane or Habib. And kind of...
Wait, who's his cardio?
Blades.
Oh, Blades. Okay, I was confused because then you said Kane, and then my brain wasn't working. I was like, Kane Velasquez. Sorry.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting, and they also talk about Shane Burgos and kind of what's next for him and how much room or how much growth potential he has where he's at versus changing camps and some of that. So, yeah, just really good overall.
Yeah, I enjoyed the episode. It was good to listen to those guys again. Yeah, I just need to get back into just that routine by listening to as many as I can early on in the week. I know a lot of podcasts released their episodes on Thursdays and Friday.
Especially lately, people have been...
Because I'm at work most of the time, throughout just like most of the day. So I just have to just kind of change my timing.
And I need to get you that list of shows I'm subscribed to, which I talked about last week. I will put that together this week, I promise. Which we'll post on the website as well. But that way,
all good. I think part of what doesn't help too with my podcast listening is a lot of those podcasts that I blacklisted on my own list.
Right.
Which Yeah, so that's honestly that's a lot of it too. I've gotten rid of probably about 8 different podcasts.
Yeah, you just need something to replace them with.
I'll listen to maybe some quotes from like interviews with fighters, but I want nothing to do with what they have to say as far as I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, most of them for me at this point is just completely guest dependent. Like if the guest is interesting, I'll listen to what the guest has to say. But yeah, I'm not going out of my way to listen to a lot of live chats nowadays.
My can't miss later. I'll give another shout out, of course, to Listen Notes MMA. Whatever bot or whoever is kind of moderating just the way that they're finding stuff.
Yeah, it's real good, right?
I'll talk about it later, but my can't miss. I'm pretty sure I've never listened to. Yeah, no, I'm positive I've never listened to this podcast.
Oh.
And if I have, I'm sorry, but it was great, and I'll get into it in a bit.
Hell yeah, man! Sounds good. I'm excited to hear it. Let's see. I guess we'll get into my other catch since I had heavy hands as well. My other catch this week is Mookie and Crookie, episode 76. Really good episode. They talk a lot about Dana White shitting on Curtis Blades, and they recap that card. And then there's a long interview with Steffi and John Nash about fighter pay, which is really interesting. They talk a bit about DC holding water for the UFC lately. They talk about boxing pay actually being extremely low as well, especially for undercard fighters. They get into some of the fucking crazy financials around one championship and how Chaudhry is like reaching out and saying Bloody Elbow's numbers are wrong, but then also when they reach out for comment, he just doesn't have any comments and they're just quoting numbers they release themselves. So it's like weird shit going on with that. He also talks a bit about the barter transactions, which makes up a good portion of their quote-unquote revenue. And he actually asked the question, which is really interesting. He's like, I mean, barter transactions could be anything, and if literally all you're doing is giving away a whole bunch of tickets to get someone's logo on the mat, is there any actual revenue in that? Because it's kind of just it's kind of just a push at that point. Like you're not actually bringing in any money. You're just making yourself look more important, which doesn't actually generate any revenue. So I thought that was interesting as well. And then they get into a bit of the Drysdale and Max Rushkoff situation in last week's card. So yeah, just really interesting overall. And anytime John Nash is on talking financials, I'm always here for it.
Yeah, I mean he's always just eloquent and kind of his ability to kind of just break it down for someone like myself who is not really. I'm just not versed in financial or economic stuff as far as just breaking numbers, crunching numbers. I'm terrible at math.
Me too, yeah. I'm good at math, but bad at the financial side of things when it comes to like all the fucking technical like shit like regression models, and when it really starts getting deep in the weeds, it's like I barely understand it. So yeah, it's really good that John Nash just puts out so much not only thorough info but like easily digestible information when it comes to that stuff. So. And it's a big part of the reason you're starting to see fighters understand what the fuck they're getting paid. It's directly from those articles and some of the stuff that came out of the antitrust lawsuit. So, yeah, big fan of that and definitely recommend it.
I forgot quickly. There's no union in boxing either, right? I can't remember.
No, but they have the Ali Act, which
that's right. That's right.
It basically decentralizes a lot of the power structure and monetary structure of that stuff to where essentially promoters have to essentially like bid on the ability to put on a fight.
Yeah, because I saw there's a certain young boxer who's quickly on the rise for a second as far as his fame and popularity via Instagram. And his promoter was going to give him, which I think is a decent amount of money to fight, right, on the 4th of July. I don't know if you've been kind of looking at this on Twitter. And basically this fighter said, no, I'm worth more than that, even though he hasn't really fought anyone yet. But that's what happens when you're with a certain notorious boxing promotion, and that manager or promoter, I guess he's really both, just is going to move on. So I don't really know if I want to say his name. It doesn't really matter. You can figure it out who I'm talking about if you're a boxing fan. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to kind of juxtapose boxing money negotiations with the UFC, but then again in the UFC, it's really just comes down to Dana White is the one who's just going to be like, go fuck yourself. more than anything. Or
Yeah.
if you don't want to fight, that's on you. It's like,
Right.
well, shouldn't be, the relationship shouldn't be that way, but that's another thing entirely.
Yeah, if they fucking paid people, maybe people wouldn't constantly feel underpaid. But, you know, feed the fighter scraps and survive while you can, right? Anyway, so yeah, the overall real good episode of Mookie and Crookie that I always enjoy that show, so definitely recommend checking it out. Did you have any skips for this week?
My usual skips, already that are already blacklisted, those are always going to be skips.
Right.
I don't really have a skip then. 'Cause I didn't really kind of look at something and so I don't really have a skip. I have a couple of mentions. One thing I will mention that's, I guess it's not really off topic. I know one of the podcasts that I'll mention talked about it, was the whole thing. It's so random. What was it, between Chad Mendes and Michael Bisping? I was like, what the fuck is going on? I thought that was pretty funny though. Either way.
Chad Mendes is. Alpha male probably has no room to open their mouth about any kind of drug accusation
They
after
really
everything they've been through. Cody Garbrandt already buried them hard anyway. So.
He basically left, right?
Well, not only that, but he also was like, well, we all do steroids because you taught us how, TJ. Like,
I learned it from you.
Yeah. Oh my god.
They need to change the name of that gym though. Seriously, Team Alpha Male, bro. You guys, like, I'm as a short person. Yes, they can kill me. I don't care. But as a short person, even if I was a professional fighter, even I wouldn't call myself like. Yes, you could be an alpha male in certain terms how you carry yourself, but like that's like saying, oh, I could take on someone who's like 6'3". No, like fuck off.
No, well,
like,
they're alpha males. Like
it's like short man syndrome.
Well, and they're also alpha males very much like, but behavior wise, in the same way that a lot of alpha males have been acting in recent times, like the Rogans of the world, where they're like just goddamn children when it comes to being respectful of other people. But anyway.
Yeah, that whole gym.
Actually, you know what? That actually segues well into my skip, which is obviously Rogan this week. He had some interesting conversations with Joe Schilling during that episode, because Joe Schilling's an interesting dude. But then all of a sudden, they stopped talking about cops beating up everybody, which also Rogan keeps saying they need to give police more money, which is so fucking stupid. For so many reasons. He's like, well, really what we need to do is give them more funding so they can have better training. It's like, bro, when the fuck has any money you given the police ever gone to training? It's not at all how the police work.
Yeah, I don't want to get political, but I'll just say something happened in downtown San Diego last night. And it's not going to be good.
No.
Because
sure
they gave...
Shit's probably going to burn again.
I'll just say they gave the police a lot more money here in San Diego.
Yeah. A fuckload of more money, and the police are already shooting people again. So shouts out to that. Fucking this city is so fucked for so many reasons. Anyway, so yeah, Rogan's a skip obviously right now because he's just saying unconscionable shit that is going to age so fucking poorly. Especially when he's like, bro, we're moving to Texas, bro. Me, Shab and I, we're moving to Texas. And then you're like, oh yeah, by the way, Texas is shutting everything down again because everybody's getting the Rona. He's like, oh, maybe we're not moving to Texas, bro.
If he's gonna move anywhere, he should move to like fucking Montana or some shit, considering Rogan loves to hunt and loves game.
Poor Ben Folks and Chad Dundas.
Yeah, right.
Well, don't do that to them. The last thing they need is a bunch of fucking Rogan bros moving out to Montana.
No, Rogan would fit well in Seattle.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't.
Actually,
he'd fit well among the cops beating up protesters, maybe. Fucking, or all the white people in the street having terrible rallies. Hey,
Brendan, let's go check out Chaz.
Jesus Christ, fucking, dude, that show is. Man, I even was like, you know what, Joe Schilling's real dope. I'll listen to this. I'll give it a chance. And then it was like real good up until they start talking about coronavirus, and then it's just like, oh god. Sometimes I forget y'all fucking hate listening to people. Anyway, I guess that's actually, in a weird way, kind of a good segue into the can't miss, because my can't miss actually will bring up people dunking on Team Alpha Male, which I'll get to in a second. But Chris, did you have any can't miss episodes for this week?
Yeah, my can't miss is a new podcast I believe I've never listened to. It's called Mma Podcast. This was episode 24. It was just great production. They have a lot of like sound bites and bits in between.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain.
Like morning radio-esque, or more just like a drop board kind of a thing?
Probably a drop or a little morning radio. No hokey fucking like.
Right. It's not like fucking cowbells and,
like,
and
nothing
fucking
like that.
Yeah, it's not like cowbells and DJ horns and shit.
Yeah, no, none of that. So what did they? Okay, so they started off. They said it's Sean O'Malley poking the wrong bear too early. And I think they were talking about when he was calling out Cody Garbrandt. They said they believe he's basically doing the Conor McGregor approach, where you're kind of teetering on you're outside of that top 10, but if you call one of them out and they accept your fight and you win, now you're there.
Well, especially if you call out people who aren't strong wrestlers.
Yeah, right. Jesus Christ.
I mean, that is the Conor McGregor 101 playbook: is call out everybody who doesn't wrestle.
Even though Garbrandt does have very good defensive wrestling, so don't know if
but
it'll work out.
He doesn't wrestle offensively.
But yeah, that's true. Good point. Talk about they have some fun sound effects and edits. Then they talked about Drysdale and Robchkov, right? The coach and the fighter. They said, should Drysdale be criticized for urging Max Rochkov to continue, even though he said many times he's done? I mean, yes, but I don't know if he should be like chastised or like thrown to the wolves.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I get it, but like it was too. If you listen to that clip, it's way too many times he says it. Like,
yeah.
The first 10 times, maybe you can be like, but when the round is about to start again and he's still saying it, you gotta step in, and it's ridiculous for the fighter to have to tell the ref that he's not gonna get off the stool. It should never get to that point where the fighter has to say that out loud. That is.
Yeah, and then they said at this point there needs to be clear communication between rounds with the corner and the fighter if they can continue. Like maybe they suggested in the podcast, okay, how about literally after every round they should be like, how are you feeling, fighter?
Right. Well, and not only that, but I heard a lot of people calling for corners to have to pass brain trauma tests about knowledge of it and stuff like that, which I think is absolutely a good idea. Obviously, as we saw with the corner work this weekend, there's really no excuse for there not to be stricter corner licensing rules, because what the fuck are we doing?
It's a goodbye.
Jesus Christ. I don't care if Valerie Letourneau fucking wrestled in high school last year. Fucking... Because she's 18. Sorry, Latori, fucking whatever her actual name is. Latori Gonzalez, is that her name?
Yeah.
Fucking, I keep
I
almost calling her.
Like Valerie.
I keep
Loretta,
almost
like
yeah.
The Bellator.
I combined about 4 names right just then. But yeah, to be fair, I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, fucking. There needs to be a big change in how corners work.
Yeah, clearly, Mike Perry's corner woman was on recess at high school or lunch, right, as they kept saying on Twitter. Yeah. Mma Podcast continuing. They said Anthony Smith contradicted himself with his sentiment and thoughts on, and I can see where they're coming from that. Based on Anthony Smith got his fucking veneers knocked out of his face in his last fight.
Not his veneers.
Oh, no, it was his real teeth, right?
Previously, he had his veneers knocked out, so that's why they weren't that worried. But it turns out, nope, they were real teeth this time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Anthony Smith, calm down, pump the brakes.
I mean, he's right. He's right that it was bad corner work. It's real good how fighters have a real interesting sense of their place in the world versus everyone else's place in the world.
It's just, I think it's
really interesting.
It's just the never quit kind of heart. I have a big heart kind of mentality.
Well, it's just to even
Lion's heart
be
mentality.
be in that sport, you have to have such fucking blinded fucking drive and like willingness to bet on yourself that like
like literally some fighters, like even in boxing, like Deontay Wilder, I'm willing to die on my shield. Like, yeah, dude, no one's gonna doubt you're gonna literally want to die in the cage or the ring, but that's still not good.
To be fair, Deontay Wilder wanted to die halfway through the walkout because his mask was so heavy. So
yeah, it's 45 pounds, right?
Yeah. To be fair, he was way ahead of the curve with wearing a mask in 2020. So
good point. Maybe he knew.
Yeah, no, I don't think he knew. I don't think Deontay Wilder had the inside knowledge about a virus coming.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people did, except
for everyone who made money in our government off it.
Yeah. The 15-minute mark at the podcast is absolute gold. They made a fake drug infomercial dubbed "Call It Off."
Okay.
It's funny. Yeah, you just gotta listen.
I
don't want to butcher it. They said, have we ever seen a 145 fight where they're both throwing and landing hard and not going down? And I think they're trying to cite examples. I think the last 145 they talked about was, I think it was Doo Ho Choi, Cub Swanson.
I was going to say, you could probably just start naming Doo Ho Choi fights or
Holloway Lamas.
Dong Young Kim, Marco.
I think Holloway Lamas is one too.
Yeah, Holloway Lamas.
God damn it. Basically any Doo Ho Choi fight when he's not knocking someone out. Any Jeremy Stevens fight when he's not knocking someone out.
Yep. Josh Emmett fights when he's not knocking someone out.
Yeah.
Which is almost never.
Yeah. They had another good bit at the 20-minute mark. They previewed last night's card. I think they were kind of split on... I think one of them chose Dan Hooker initially because it had been a year off, almost a year, since Poirier had fought Khabib.
Wow. Has it really been that long?
Yeah, September, right?
I guess so. It feels like it was like
he had hip surgery
3 months ago, but it also feels like it was 4 years ago.
Yeah. They said this fight really makes you wonder how great the 165 division could be.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody wants to see the 165.
And they said, who wins the fight between Chad Mendes and Bisping's eye?
Which eye?
I think they were talking about his not real eye.
I feel like the not real eye is going to take it unless Chad Mendes has some kind of hammer or fire. I don't know.
Yeah. And then at the end of their podcast, I didn't realize they do this. I thought it was great. I haven't listened to a podcast. They do a trivia bit, which is really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Really difficult questions, too. I remember, God damn it. I should have written some of these down, but please give it a listen. Some of them stumped me, and I got some of them right. Yeah, one of them, they said, what does Zuffa mean in Italian? And I didn't realize, I was like, Zuffa's an Italian word because of the Fertitta brothers. Do you know what it means?
I did at one point, because I feel like this is something Jordan Breen has brought up.
It's something very obvious. I'm like, God damn it.
I forget.
It means fight or scuffle in Italian.
I thought it was either fight or win. I couldn't remember which. Yeah. It checks out. Yeah. It's almost as bad as Bellator.
Oh, yeah, isn't that like an ancient Roman like our Latin thing?
I think it's like a Latin word for like warrior or something like that. It's not. Yeah. It's not great. Shouts out to Bjorn. Anyway, yeah, man, that sounds good. I'm gonna have to listen to that podcast.
Yeah, and they keep making fun of this guy and one of their co-hosts named Trevor. Has a very thick, like, Southern accent.
That's funny.
It's pretty funny. It's like part of the bit. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give it a listen for sure. That sounds good.
Yeah, My MMA Podcast is what it's called.
Hell yeah. Let's see. So my can't miss this week is actually technically a new show for me as well. This is the inaugural episode of the WOCast new series called For the Hard Way. Which is hosted by Mike, G, Kairos, and Chisanga. And man, it's so good. So you guys would know that Mike and G, well, I guess it's G from WoTV now. Used to be it's G now. I don't know. Gina's changed her name so many fucking times on Twitter that at this point, G from State Farm, G from WOCast, Gina, any of her, yeah. So her and Mike have been doing the WOCast off and on, and then she's been off for, man, it's been a bit because she lives in New York and is going through a lot of crazy stuff with coronavirus.
Shit, I bet.
Yeah, she's like, man, she's had big shouts to G. She's had some real hard shit she's had to go through this year. But it was really cool to see her back, and now they're doing a new show where it's kind of just a round table with Mike, G, Kairos, and Chisanga, and it's so fucking good. Like, first off, I don't know that I could name a regular panel, 5-person panel of black people who were involved in the sport. I just can't. I can think of a couple shows where it's like, like the Morning Wood show or shows like that, but normally it's not like a big panel of all black people, and all of them who, like, all 4 of them are so fucking sharp and so goddamn witty, especially on Twitter, but even more so on the podcast, that it is a fucking great concept. I tweeted out this week that, like, this is easily one of my new favorite formats, and I am very excited to listen to it going forward. They spend a lot of the early part just completely dunking on Mike Perry, because Mike Perry just keeps saying horrible shit. They talk about how essentially he's the epitome of people who want to be black until it affects them negatively, which is real good. You guys will actually hear a clip on the break about some shit they had to say about Mike Perry.
Mike Perry is J-Rock from Trailer Park Boys, except that J-Rock's actually funny.
Right, and way less offensive somehow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Let's see. They talk about Rachel Ostovich popping and what she should do next. They go real hard at Team Alpha Male and how they just kind of end up trashing people's careers and are just, like, kind of terrible in general. Like, that was where
you said that was their angle? Like, their angle was that Team Alpha Male trashes people's careers? Or they were trashing their careers at Team Alpha Male?
Just that whole camp just ruins people. Like,
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
And it's ironic considering they've had fucking amazing talent at that gym, but it just... I honestly don't see Cody Garbrandt going back. If he like wins his next fight, which I think it's going to be against I just had this name in mind. God damn it! I mean, the rankings don't mean shit. Obviously, we learned about that. Yeah. I mean, we already knew that, but we got.
Oh, so I should mention this. So the ranking stuff came up this week about evidently a third party is emailing people who vote to tell them kind of suggestions on where people should fall or raise in the rankings depending on a win or a loss. And they're real cookie-cutter bullshit, and they seem very outdated. Turns out, why they seem very outdated is because it's Keurig Genis, the guy who runs the UG forums, and of course, they're the official record keepers of the UFC when it comes to, like, all the cards that have happened and win-loss records and all that. They're the official database. So... in some ways, it would make sense for them to be like, hey, here is, kind of the stats behind their careers because they're the official record keepers of that stuff. According to, I forget, I don't think it's technically the UFC who made that decision. Although it might be. I don't remember. Anyway, Keurig has always had fucked, outdated methods of scoring. The dude is not... I've had enough arguments on, or I've seen enough horrible shit posting from him when it comes to scoring on the UG over the years that, like, I mean, dude is always kind of leaned way nostalgic, and which I get, but, like, the fact that he is sending recommendations of how the rankings should go is a very clear indictment on why the rankings are so fucked the way they are. Yeah, that news did come out, though, that it is Keurig who's making those decisions. I think Bloody Elbow, I think Trent Ryan Smith had that story. Or at least I know that's where I read it about it, was in his story. So, very frustrating. But yeah, anyway, some other stuff on the For the Hard Way episode of the WOCast. They go real hard at Cody Garbrandt for basically, like, trashing the whole gym on accident by saying that TJ taught him all how to do drugs. The one interesting thing they brought up is there's a lot of talk about why fighters going on strike wouldn't really work because people would just get replaced. But they brought up, what if big gyms went on strike together?
Ooh.
Like, what if ATT, Jacksons, and AKA all went on strike together? That's a big portion of the roster.
Or even like TriStar.
Yeah, I mean, you only need
then
it
would send a message like a non-American gym too.
Yeah, I didn't even bring up Jackson Wink in that because fucking...
Well, I mean,
That's the last place I would expect to do any of that bullshit because they're so money hungry at this point.
oh no, they would never do that. They would, what do you mean? We love the UFC.
Yeah, fucking.
Even though
Besides,
literally
Holly
their
Holmes is
biggest
about to
and
very
only
fairly get
star-
another title shot, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're literally their only biggest star they've ever had, besides like say Rashad at one point, and a couple other guys like Alistair at one point. Obviously Johnny Boney Jonies, as Eugene S. Robinson would still calls him. I think. I hope so. It's hilarious. He keeps talking about how he wants to sit out.
Well, to be fair, Malky and Abe are talking for all of their clients right now to the UFC about how they want to sit out. Because if you notice, everybody talking right now is all Malky and Abe clients. And also, Malky and Abe have been saying so much dumb shit on Twitter. It's insane. Like, first off...
Oh, my favorite was the Mike Perry one.
Well, that wasn't even, like, that was horrible. I mean, they're just echoing fucking Trump rhetoric all the time, which is horrible.
Oh, I've seen, and I know it's not Jorge. There's no way, unless Jorge runs his own Twitter.
No,
which
they've said in the past, Malky and Abe are the ones who actually tweet stuff for him, but they say he has a cosign on anything that gets posted. Which, like, Jorge said horrible pro-Trump shit, too, all the time.
Yeah, no, I keep seeing, like, when I go on Twitter, it's
Hector
like...
Lombard, Yoel, all those dudes.
I'll see Jorge Masvidal liked, and it's like literally one of Donald Trump's tweets. So I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's why I have the word Trump muted on Twitter. It makes Twitter so much more bearable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all the fucking Cubans at ATT are like so awful when it fucking, if you want to go understand how horrible the fucking culture around the right wing shit at ATT is, go listen to Hector Lombard debate on MMA Roasted. Hector Lombard debated I know I can see his face. He did commentary at Tachi with TJ DeSantis, fought at Tachi, fought in the UFC. I forget his name.
Did
Cody
he
something,
debate or did he just argue?
Oh no, he yelled over the top of.
Thank you. That's
in broken ass English.
Debating and actually just arguing loudly.
It was supposed to be a debate, but then Hector Lombard just yelling in broken English over the top of him, which it went exactly how you think it would, but anyway. And then let's see. Yeah, For the Hard Way. There isn't a show like it, really, especially with so many strong and super witty voices all in one show. And I have a feeling that show is going to make big waves. So keep an eye on them because I am definitely going to be keeping an eye on it going forward. Real good shit.
All right, man. Yeah, that's going hard at Team Alpha Male. I mean, yeah, they should learn by now that every time they find a little bit of success, their main head coach, whoever the fuck it is at the time, is just like, I'm out. And I think it stems from the owner. So who knew?
Yeah, that's a shocker. Let me see. You said your Can't Miss was your new show this week, right?
Yeah, the My MMA Podcast, episode 24.
Nice, yeah. For the Hard Way is kind of a new show for me since technically it's a new show that they're putting on the Wocast feed. But the other new show is kind of a similar thing that I had this week, which is Fitz and a Fighter is no more. Brendan Fitz is changing the format of his podcast to now be the Brendan Fitz Podcast. And I listened to the episode for June 22nd, which I believe is his first one in the new format. He's changing it up because he was having trouble consistently booking guests, and he didn't want to do the interviews over Skype. He wanted to do them in person, which for the time being is obviously going to be difficult. So going forward, he's going to kind of do a blend of kind of listener questions and recap shows and previews and stuff like that. And then every once in a while he'll do interviews when he can get them, which I'm excited about it. I like Brendan Fitzgerald in general. And, I really like his interviews. His show was getting real sporadic because it was hard for him to nail him down. So totally understandable, and I'm glad to see him just putting out content more regularly. He talks a lot in this episode about the Max Roshkoff stoppage and like the fact that Max Roshkoff said in the corner 13 times variations on "end it" or "I'm done." And
it's fucking ridiculous.
Way too many fucking times, especially when you consider that was 13 times in 60 seconds, which is like fucking bonkers. And then he does a lot of listener questions. So, I mean, it's very much if you were to imagine what Brendan Fitzgerald's podcast where he just talks about stuff would be, it's absolutely that. And I like Brendan. He's really funny. He made fun of himself in this episode also for hiding under the desk in Mexico. He's like, a lot of people are shitting on Max Roscoff. You know what, Max, don't listen to that shit. People still make fun of me for hiding under a desk in Mexico. But you know what? It's what I felt like I needed to do at the time. Yeah.
I remember that when Michael Bisping was like, they're fucking throwing bottles at us or some shit.
Yeah.
And you just see Brendan go, oh, fuck.
Yeah, during the Yair Jeremy Stevens thing.
Yeah, that was so fucking weird, but not surprising. It's Mexico.
For sure.
I mean, go watch a soccer game, or don't. Maybe you might get bored.
There you go. Yeah, man. So overall, just really good. Did you have any also rans or honorable mentions you wanted to throw out there?
Yeah, honorable mention to Rent Free MMA. I think they're a new one. It's just one guy. I forgot his name. But it's kind of like a Dan Tom thing, but without kind of like the witty remarks. It's not no disrespect to this guy, but
no,
it's
just
straight
Dan
up
Tom's funny as fuck.
Yeah, it's just straight up just this guy's breaking down the fights, but on like a gambling aspect,
Gotcha.
That was solid, especially if you're better. Oh, and I won $15 last night because my brother bet Dan Hooker.
Nice.
No, I was getting kind of scared though. Like that second round.
Yeah, the end of that second round. Shit was not looking good for you.
And then other honorable mention goes to Late Stoppage MMA episode 76. It was only like a 20-minute podcast, but it was a good thorough breakdown. He also gives a shout out to the lightweight title picture after this main event. This is before the fight happened. And he says, how come no one's giving any respect to the obvious dark horse of the 155 division, Charles Oliveira? It was a nice shout out to Charles Oliveira. And people forget the dude has the most submission win. He's tied for most submission wins in UFC history, which I did not know that. And if I were to have a wild guess as to who number one is, I would probably say it's Demian Maia, but I have no idea.
Probably. Yeah, I don't know. Probably though. Cool, man. Let's see. Some honorable mentions I had. Fights Gone By, episode 213 was really solid. Talks a lot about analyst gate between Luke and Robin. And he talks about the Sahara levels of thirst that are going to come out for Jin Yu Fry after this.
Oh, yeah.
Which, to be fair, I would be surprised if we don't see some Kay Hansen love, too, until people start realizing what a right-wing nut she is. With her fucking guns and God shirts and shit like that. CME episode 407 was really good. Talk a lot about Drysdale refusing to call off the Max fight. And Don House wearing the QAnon patches and shit. Which is fucking insane. You heard about that, right?
That was
fucking so dumb.
Fucking
Especially afterwards when he's like, I just like the message where we go one, we go all, or whatever. I thought that was a good message. It's like I didn't know it stood for anything. You're like, yeah. Okay.
I always still get confused every time I try to figure out what the fuck QAnon's all about.
It's like it's all the broken parts of the internet coming together to just really go real dumb. It's
like what deep state shit with
it's like
and then like
deep
what
state,
Pizzagate,
anti-Trump, Pizzagate, and then also like all the Boogaloo bullshit.
Like I'll just say this,
it's not great.
I don't dismiss Pizzagate at all. At this point, it would not surprise me, and I probably think that's real. I just don't want to talk about shit like that.
Well, I mean, like, is their kid fucking? Yes. Is Pizzagate mostly bullshit? Also probably yes.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of broken parts to a lot of all those things, and I don't know. Everyone involved in everything is horrible everywhere.
It's just like, what is
my take on everything?
When I just hear QAnon, it's just like, what are they just? Are they too woke or whatever the fuck you want to call it? No.
Yeah. It all ends up being racist internet humor eventually, no matter what rabbit hole you go down. Anyway, fucking Jesus. MMA Roasted episode 532 was real good. Angie Hill called in, and she talks.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good. She talks everything from the early days of fighting to her grandma and grandpa being abducted by aliens. They're like one of the first abduction, or like one of the big abduction cases back in the day. Which is interesting to hear. I know she was wanting to tell that story on Rogan, but didn't get around to it. Sean McCorkle called in to tell some terrible jokes. Adam says that Ali banned all his fighters from coming on the show, and he pulled Bilal as a guest because Colby came on and talked shit about Ali, and so Ali blackballed Adam because that's what Ali does, because he's a goddamn coward. Angie Hill said she wanted to fight Michelle Watterson next, which would be cool.
I dig that fight.
For sure. Let's see. Believe You Me, episode 234 was really good. Bobby Green called in and told kind of his crazy story of growing up in foster care and just all the crazy shit he went through as a young kid. So that one was really good.
Yeah, I remember his interview, post-fight interview from just a week or two ago. Was really powerful. Yeah,
he's a very, very interesting dude. And, like, man, he's always... I would love to hear more Bobby Green shit because he has never... He has a lot of the same qualities that the Diaz brothers have when they get in interviews, where, like, you could tell they have mad anxiety and, like, they have more things in their head that they want to say than they can actually get out. But they will just occasionally drop, like, these goddamn gems where you're like, Jesus, that is crazy insightful and really something I did not expect in that sentence. So definitely worth checking out. Severe MMA with Mma Podcast. Episode 266 was really good. Andy Stevenson co-hosted for Graham. And yeah, big update on Irish MMA and where they're at. They recapped the Blades Volkov card, and they preview Poirier versus Hooker. They did also mention that they're doing some fantasy stuff on the Sphere MMA Patreon for anybody interested, which is pretty cool. The Fight Site MMA Podcast, episode 17, was really solid as well. They talk about Poirier versus Hooker. They recap the Burgos versus Emmett fight. And yeah, they talk a bit about fighters with good footwork. And it's just a really good episode of that show. Nothing particular necessarily that stands out about it. Just very, very solid episode. Also, I'll give you guys a little tease. I don't want to spoil anything, but it sounds like the Fight Site might have a new segment coming to one of their shows that I think will be very cool if it ends up playing out. So, because I've been in touch with some of those guys, and they were asking me some questions about stuff. So, keep an eye out for that. I think it might be very cool if it ends up playing out. Coast to Coast Combat Hour, Vegas Looks was really neat. Just a really solid episode, and they had a lot of interesting conversations about kind of the state of the other organizations aside from the UFC. People like Combate announcing that they're going to start having events again, and the fact that Bellator still hasn't said anything and what that means kind of for the future of Bellator, or what it could mean. So I thought that was interesting. MMA on the Rocks, episode 196 was really solid. The Half Cast podcast, episode 38, was a lot of fun. They had Junior Taffa, who's the older brother of Justin Taffa.
Oh, okay.
And so he came on, and they just talk a lot about kind of his upcoming camp and how he found out about it like a week ago, and how he's fighting in Abu Dhabi. They do talk a little bit about Chris D'Elia. And Tyson Pedro's like, I really liked that guy. I thought he was funny. That fucking... It's terrible. And then also, fucking Tai Tuivasa has the line about... They were talking about protests and stuff. And they're talking about how one guy was trying to be the hero or something. And Tai Tuivasa just goes, sometimes when you want to be a hero, you get heroed. Fucking... Just a very Tai Tuivasa kind of line, but I thought it was brilliant. UFC Unfiltered for June 22nd was really good. Tisha Torres and Rocky Pennington Skype in together. That was a lot of fun hearing them talk with Matt and Jim. And then Josh Emmett Skyped in, talk about blowing out his ACL and getting the win. Shillen and Duffy episode for UFC Blades vs. Volkov recap was really solid. And Between the Links episode 4 had Jose Youngs and James Lynch on. And I love me some James Lynch, so worth listening to.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
This all sounds solid.
Yeah, that's what I had. Did you have any well-rounded or non-MMA related stuff you wanted to shout out this week?
Yeah, god damn it. I just fuck. What was it? Sorry.
Here, while you think about it, I got one.
Yeah.
Which is the Issues with Andy podcast that's hosted by Greg Chaley, the road manager for Doug Stanhope, along with Chad Schenk, Andy Andrist, and Brett Erickson. And it's fucking hilarious. They make horrible jokes and drink way too many Bloody Marys early in the day and just get hammered and talk shit. Half the time Andy's on acid shooting a crossbow. That's a real thing that happened not that long ago. Literally on acid on his porch shooting a crossbow off of it. Just like, real fucked up. It's real. That show's a real wild ride, so I recommend it for sure. He's also been telling crazy stories about the old man show days when he was a writer on it, meaning when he got drunk and just fucking would pass out places and get paid for it. There is actually I heard a great story recently of Andy Andrus drinking so much that they took him off the man show set because he was distracting. So they had him sleep in a studio across the way. And then he woke up to the cast of That's So Raven standing around him and acting like trying to see if he was dead. And he's like, yeah, all those parents and everybody seemed real concerned. So I just like stumbled out and walked back over to the man show set and fell asleep again. It's like, what the fuck? Poor fucking Raven Simone seeing fucked up Andy Andrus still like 12 years old.
Well, I mean, there's a certain person in the cast of that show that hasn't really...
I'm sure there's a Crystal.
I'm talking about Orlando. Just look up Orlando Brown Twitter. Unfortunately,
I'm probably not going to do that just for my own well-being.
It involves. Okay, never mind. No, I can't say that technically. I could technically be slanderous.
Yeah, let's just move on. But anyway, yeah, Issues with Andy is real good. Did you have any other well-rounded ones?
So yeah, first one I'll mention is Hot Ones is back, I think. With Sean Evans. I don't know if it was his return episode.
Tom Segura, yep, first one out. Yep.
Yeah, Tom Segura, part 2.
This is I think the first episode of the new season of Hot Ones, if I remember right.
Yeah, real good though. He doubles down on wrestling it's just gold. It's just gold. And then my other well-rounded is Starting 9, the Barstool baseball podcast,
nice.
Hosted by Jared Carbis and Dallas Braden, former pitcher for Oakland Athletics. Their guest was Trevor Williams. He's a starting pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. What I didn't know is he's a San Diego native, went to Rancho Bernardo High School, I think graduated the same year as me.
So he's white as fuck.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that's the easiest bet ever. Do they play baseball? Did they go to Rancho Bernardo High? White as shit. That's like guaranteed.
But it was fun listening. They were talking about just baseball being back and like favorite baseball parks, because kind of when people talk about the top baseball parks to go to, usually 1 and 2. And this is talking about like for options and like view and everything, not just like nostalgia or like historical significance. Mm-hmm. But PNC Park in Pittsburgh is up there. Or I call the Telephone Park, which is one in San Francisco because they keep changing their fucking name.
Right,
Oracle Park in San Francisco is a great park. And, of course, Petco Park. And he said, Petco, he's from San Diego. He's talking about growing up a Padres fan. He was just like, you can't go to Petco. He's basically saying, and we all know this, you can go to Petco Park and you can be literally like, okay, I want this beer, I want that beer, I want this food. You have just like all these... Yeah, there's nothing beats it.
You can bar crawl the fuck out of the inside of Petco Park and just have some of the world's best food and booze. It's real
Chris,
impressive.
Want to go get some tri-tip nachos from Seaside Market? Okay, fuck it. You want to go, get a fucking California burrito? All right, they even added more food, dude. Like there's
a bunch of good sushi places. There's a bunch of there's a ton of good food in there.
Yeah, and I know we talked, but yeah, so those are my well-roundeds. On top of that, I'm excited about baseball being back, even though I know it's a fucking 60-game season, whatever.
To be fair, it's the amount of games they should always play?
Well, if you ask me, instead of 162, they should play like maybe 115 at tops.
That still sounds like way too many games.
It's not that bad, because that's still like 50 games.
That's only like a third of the year.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Anyway, no, I get it. Let's see. Some honorable mentions that I had, or well-rounded rather. How to Drink, the top 5 Tiki episode is really, really good. That's actually half of the Tiki cocktails that are my go-tos are in that. Like the painkiller in that is my go-to recipe. The Mai Tai is my go-to recipe. I still need to make a Jungle Bird, but I need to get Campari. I keep forgetting to pick up Campari. But yeah, just really good. Highly recommend it. Skeptic Tank episode 391 with Ari Spear and Big J Okerson just talking about cops for 2 hours is real good because that's Big J Okerson's favorite show ever. And it's just really a lot of fun. Let's see. The Punk Lotto podcast did a bracketology episode where they essentially did a top 16, or was it? I think it was 16. 2, 4. I think it was 16. Anyway, I'm pretty sure they did a 16 band bracket for 90s pop punk bands. And it's a lot of fun. They definitely made some terrible choices. Fucking, there are some bands that should have beat the shit out of other bands, but they want to suck the dick of Billy Joe Armstrong, evidently. But there's some real good shit in that, so I highly recommend that one. It's a lot of fun, and that show's weird but cool. And yeah, I think that's most of the stuff I had. Cool, man. Well, on that note, you want to take a quick break, and then we will come back and very briefly talk about this card that happened yesterday?
Yeah, that works.
Sounds good. Well, we will be right back, and in the meantime, you guys can listen to this clip of... Oh, God, what was the clip? Right, it's the Wocast talking about... Right? Was it the Woke? Oh, right, it's the Wocast talking about Mike Perry, which, man, it's real good. So, listen to this, and we'll be back.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Now, I know he's claiming 1% black, but I think it's about time that we trade Mike Perry. We trade him to the aliens because he's not of this planet. He is not of this realm. He is not of this universe. I mean, am I being overly protective of our culture here? Am I being overly protective of the fact that, you know, as a European, a Brit in Europe, perhaps I'm a little bit sensitive? Or is Mike Perry just a tool? I mean, I just bring that to the table this week because I have to say I was quite incensed when I saw that, and that's my talking point which I'm bringing to the table.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go first. First of all, you're putting some disrespect on Mike Perry's name. He's not 1% black. He's 2% black, bro. That's what the 23andMe said.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker, the main event of a UFC card, which I believe will go down in the annals of history, not for its lineup, certainly not the undercard, which is about as underwhelming as fight night cards get these days, but will probably go down in history as having one of the UFC's most inexplicably silly fight posters. Have you seen this poster, Phil? Because Dan Hooker looks like...
Oh, what, the one with evil Dan Hooker?
Evil? No, he looks like he's smelling the undercard. It doesn't look like he's evil. He looks like something foul has happened in the room where the picture was taken.
Generation, are you excited about it all?
Liked by the sound of violence.
Now, I know he's claiming 1% black, but I think it's about time that we trade Mike Perry. We trade him to the aliens because he's not of this planet. He is not of this realm. He is not of this universe. I mean, am I being overly protective of our culture here? Am I being overly protective of the fact that, you know, as a European, a Brit in Europe, perhaps I'm a little bit sensitive? Or is Mike Perry just a tool? I mean, I just bring that to the table this week because I have to say I was quite incensed when I saw that, and that's my talking point which I'm bringing to the table.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go first. First of all, you're putting some disrespect on Mike Perry's name. He's not 1% black. He's 2% black, bro. That's what the 23andMe said.
All right, everyone, we're back.
Yeah, we are.
We are back to quickly recap an interesting card of all sorts that last night, UFC Fight Night Poirier versus Hooker, which was at the Apex facility, I guess you'd call it, in Las Vegas. Yeah,
overall a good card. I mean, definitely there was some slow points. I mean, anytime you have that many heavyweights around, or I guess actually there's only 2 heavyweight fights. It just felt like 6. But yeah, there was definitely some slower moments towards the middle of this card, but man, did the main event deliver in every single way.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to think which ones so I missed Yusuf Zalal. I missed his unanimous decision victory over Jordan Griffin.
It was good. It kind of went the way you expected it would, where Jordan Griffin just kind of had trouble pulling the trigger and just consistently was falling behind in rounds, it seemed like.
I did see Kay Hansen, the 20-year-old, the impressive submission via triangle armbar over Jin Yu Frey, scrappy veteran.
For sure, and that was interesting. I did not necessarily think that was going to go that way. I was surprised first off that Jinyu Fry did so well early. Especially, I mean, I knew that she would be quicker and a little bit more technical on the feet than Kay Hansen, because Kay Hansen, especially in Invicta, her entire game was all top, heavy top control, and kind of just scrambling into better positions and just outworking people to end up on top. And I did think that was going to be interesting to see how that played out against Jinyu Fry, but I did not expect Jinyu Fry to look so much cleaner on the feet. Kay Hansen was still able to land a lot of decent hooks, especially kind of follow-up hooks after she gets clipped by Jinyu Fry. But man, the way she set up the ending sequence this fight is just some classic Kay Hansen shit.
Yeah,
I had her down probably at least 2 rounds, if not 3, going into that last round. So. Or going into that last, whatever it was, couple minutes of the fight. And, she hit that. She basically, out of a scramble, hit a flying armbar, and then was able to transition to the triangle, go back to the armbar, and get the finish. And, man, classic Kay Hansen shit.
Yeah, great win, great comeback victory. Just solid overall. I missed this next one. Actually, no, I didn't. I was working, but I did see the violent replay of this knockout.
I was going to say, there was a whole lot of nothing up until everything ended.
Tanner Boser, the Canadian, with a vicious knockout victory over Brazilian Felipe Lins.
Yeah, Felipe Lins. He clipped him right behind the ear, got him kind of wobbly, and then landed 6 or 7 punches super fucking clean, including 2 nasty hammer fists on the ground. And that shit was a wrap.
Yeah, that's all she wrote, basically.
Yeah, Tanner Boser in the post-fight saying, "Oh, I saved you guys from having to pay a giant fucking win bonus to Felipe Lins, so maybe hook me up with a thank you check," which I thought was funny.
Speaking of come from behind victories, this is impressive. Kama Worthy choke.
Once again, surprising the shit out of me.
Yeah, over Violent Bob Ross, Luis Pena, who was, and they were both exchanging very well amongst each other, just with inside leg kicks, teeps to the bottom, teep kicks, just down the middle. I mean, it had everything, hooks to the body. It was pretty versatile with their striking, some good jabs. It was basically a boxing match for the most part. Good scrambles. I know Pena, with his very long arms and his long limbs, really had Kama Worthy's back for a while, but Kama Worthy's jiu-jitsu defense was good. He was able to fight the hands.
Yep.
He had a really good reversal at one point. Pena, what is it called? Like the seatbelt, when you basically just fully lock across. It was impressive.
He had that back control for fucking ever.
I was just so goddamn. I was impressed by Pena, of course, too. He had multiple times in that fight where I thought he was going to submit Kama Worthy.
Yeah, Kama Worthy
surprised us again, and
dope.
And I'm saying that as a good thing to Kama Worthy, because now he's known. This guy is not to be trifled with, at least now initially.
For sure.
Once he starts climbing those rankings, even though the rankings don't mean fuck all, right?
Well, and Kama Worthy is an interesting dude on the mic as well, so I expect to hear a lot from Kama Worthy going forward, I would assume.
And then this next fight, another impressive submission and another come from behind. That was
for sure.
This was the theme of this card. As we get into more, there's a lot of come from behind victories.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Juliana Rosa, Juicy J, with the Darce choke over Sean Woodson.
Yeah, Sean Woodson looking so clean early. Just absolutely lancing Rosa with the left hand. Both from Orthodox and Southpaw, just mixing up the jab and then firing that out like that. Zero telegraph straight left. Fucking wild.
Good win by Juicy J. This next fight I missed.
Takashi Sato absolutely smashed Jason Witt. Just blasted him.
I believe I saw something too. His father recently passed. Sato?
Oh, really?
Let me see.
I didn't catch that.
And he God damn it, where is it? Fuck. It said something about Sato trip. Either way, great fucking good that Sato's got that win, man. I hope we could see him on Fight Island if he's able to get a quick turnaround.
Well, let's not call that shit fucking.
Oh,
You mean the next Abu Dhabi card?
Excuse me. Fight theme park.
Yeah.
That's what it really is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shouts out
Fight
to
Rari
Ferrari
World.
What's up?
Fight Rari World.
That's right. Yeah, we'll call it that.
Isn't it
works.
essentially on the same land as Ferrari World?
Oh no, it is. It literally is.
It's like right
Ferrari
next to
World
it.
is on
Yeah.
Fight Island. Yeah, and I saw UFC posted a picture of them like building the octagon. It's like, dude, I can't imagine. It's like 120 degrees. They're just like, fuck.
It's like 120 degrees at like 10 a.m. Fuck that shit.
Dude, we're gonna be seeing a lot of fighters gas. God damn it. Okay.
Speaking of fighters gassing, Mo Green versus John Volante. Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't understand. Well, the only way you get caught from that choke is if you're tired.
Yeah, I don't. It was a weird head and arm from the bottom that he got caught in. That like, oh boy. Not a good look
John
for
Volante
John Volante.
looking like he gained COVID-19
And
pounds wise.
He gained a COVID 119. It seemed like he was a big boy. He was looking like me out there, fucking looking like a clean cut version of my ass, an Italian clean cut version of me. And to be fair, he looked real good. He was fucking. He dropped Maurice Green at one point, or rocked him real bad. No, he dropped him too. Yeah, scrappy fight. But
yeah, John didn't look too bad, even though he was at lasagna weight.
Yeah, exactly. Up until he's on that Matt Serra diet. But yeah, he just absolutely gassed, beating the fuck out of Maurice Green, especially in that third round, and then just fell apart.
My buddy Jake, good friend of the podcast, he had texted me. He's like, "Bro, how bad is Mo Green?" I'm like, "Well, he's at Jackson's." That was just a good joke. But
yeah. Well, he's also a heavyweight, so how good can he be?
Let's roll the dice, right, when heavyweights fight.
Mm-hmm.
Good win by Mo Green. Good win.
It was a win by Mo Green. I don't know how good the win was, but
well, I mean, it's a win.
Yeah, history will look more kindly upon it from his record than the actual fight itself.
This next fight, however, was just weird for all the obvious reasons.
Yeah. And can we start by saying Mickey Gall won the first round?
Yeah.
Striking, which is fucking wild.
Yeah, and I remember I just saw a clip. Michael Bisping was like, I just heard, he's like, Mike Perry's corner say, punch Mickey Gall in the face, and that's the advice. And then literally after that, he knocks Gall down, and Michael Bisping just loses it. He's oh my god, there it is! Like, I have to send you the clip, because I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah.
Fuck this fight.
First off, I don't know how the Athletic Commission can allow an 11-year-old to corner a fighter. I feel like that's really crazy that they're just allowing toddlers to corner fighters nowadays. However, yeah, I mean, Mickey Gall looked way better on the feet in this fight. Like, way more comfortable, way less ducking and running.
What happened to the Mike Perry performances against, like, even Paul Felder? Like, bro, where's that Mike Perry?
I mean,
right?
Part of it is because Paul Felder was just standing in front of Mike Perry.
And he broke his arm. But
that too. But, like, Mickey Gall was not willing to just stand in front of Mike Perry, and when he did, that was when he was really getting lit up.
Can you imagine if Mike Perry, and apparently he wants to go up to 185 just to fight Darren Till? I just don't see any way how that isn't just a first round knockout for Darren Till. Like, there's just no other way.
Will be, unless Mike Perry decides to wrestle, and then Darren Till might be fucked. Which is
and then again, Darren Till's takedown defense is pretty solid.
Against who? Cowboy?
I guess. Well, he did defend most of Woodley's takedown attempts, but he's a lot bigger.
Did Woodley try any takedown attempts, or did he just feint takedowns to throw overhands?
He tried. Okay, to be fair, he did try like 2 against the fence and couldn't take down Till, but Till basically just spread his base out really, really wide.
Right, and then Tyron Woodley just.
So I guess that's not really fair, and he had the leverage of the fence. So yeah, that's a good point. He could set it back to the fence. So.
And I mean, like, to be fair, I think he has good enough takedown defense to shut down Mike Perry's takedown attempts. But
yeah, and I think that's where I was kind of thinking. But yeah, no, I don't want to see that fight at all. Well, that's not true. I would see that fight just because the lead up to it would be absolutely fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, and also, like, it's not like either one of these dudes would be holding up a division at all if they fought. Like they could both definitely take that fight, and it would be pretty reasonable. Although who's Till matched up with right now? Whitaker?
Actually, it wouldn't be smart for Till because he's like number 5 in the world, and he's fighting.
But if he loses to Whitaker, then this becomes a real possibility of a fight.
Yeah.
But if he gets a win over Whitaker, well, that's a big ask. Yeah, I don't know.
No, if he wins, if he defeats Bobby Knuckles,
he probably gets a title shot. Like,
he probably will
because of how broken the fucking system is.
But I also see Jared Cannonier getting really mad and then just gunning for that fight.
Oh my god, I feel like Jared Cannonier would absolutely destroy Darren Till.
I think Jared Cannonier is a future champ.
He's a problem for a lot of dudes, especially ones that can't wrestle.
He pretty much has that light heavyweight / heavyweight power. So, as a former heavyweight and light heavyweight. All right, and then now, so yeah, Mike Perry, whatever, dude, you're at ATT. Good luck to you.
Theoretically, he's at ATT. I don't know. He's been saying enough shit that how long till he gets Colby Covington out of that gym? But
yeah, good point. Holy shit, what a main event. Dustin Poirier wins on my scorecard 3-2. I had it rounds 1 and 2 Hooker, and then 3, 4, 5 Poirier.
Yeah, I feel like the shots that Poirier landed after he was able to get up late in the third is what won him the third. Because Hooker had a lot of top control in the third, but didn't do a ton with it. And then Dustin got up and landed a couple nasty combos.
That one, I think it was round 4. How did Hooker not get armbarred? Did his arm look like fucking rubber?
That was real. Yeah, he barely was able to change the angle of his thumb and his elbow. And then the fucking combo that Hooker hit at the end of the second on Dustin.
Yeah.
Like the fucking 8-piece combo ending with 2 knees was ridiculous. And you can see Poirier fucking hurting after that round. And man, yeah, Hooker almost took that third round on... Almost took the third round with the takedown if he was able to just get a little bit more done on top. And then, man, 4th and 5th, Dustin really turned it on.
Yeah, I mean, it was just those championship rounds, right? Whatever. I mean, it's not obviously a title fight, but he just had that championship mentality going. And hats off to both fighters. Dan Hooker clearly belongs in that top 5 echelon of that weight class.
For sure.
I think so. Not sure. I think right now, if I'm UFC or if I'm Paul Felder, I'm calling for that rematch against Dan Hooker right about now.
I don't know. Yeah, who did Paul Felder fight last?
That's who he fought last, and he
right, and that
lost
was that close,
razor close fight. With Dan Hooker. Paul Felder's number 6 last time I checked. I think Hooker was just number 5.
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't think they'll change their spots. I think they'll stay both 5 and 6. And speaking of fighters who should be removed from the rankings, it's pretty obvious, but whatever.
You mean the guy who's retired?
That's my point. Like, they already removed Cejudo from his rankings. Why not remove McGregor?
It's because Kirik can't stop sucking dude's dick. So, oh god, that was a.
And you see what Connor tweeted? Fucking.
Which time?
He said, what did he say? He's like, I'm paraphrasing this, but he said, I always knew something was suspicious about COVID and affecting Habib's father or something. He's like, good luck to you guys. And he's like, remember, Allah is watching. Like,
what a fucking adult, dude.
Like, you're really trying to get Eagle kicked to you. Really, I don't know.
He's just like such a fucking child, and it's so obvious that all the good shit he did earlier was literally just his PR firm doing it. And then the second he actually has control over his own Twitter.
The irony of Conor McGregor to me still, and I will say this until the day he's actually retired, is that it's like, yeah, dude, I get it. You only want title fights and you don't want short notice stuff, but you still match up well with Justin Gaethje. Like, just take the fight, dude. Like, and a lot of those guys, like, even it's not like Conor's not a bad fighter. It's just you just have the worst fighter attitude one of the worst I've ever seen in my life. At least besides when he was actually coming up in the rankings. But yeah, that's the irony of McGregor to me. The dude's still a top 5 lightweight, and he just does not want to just fight any other fight besides.
I mean, is he a top 5 lightweight? When was the last time he won a fight at lightweight? RDA?
He didn't even fight RDA.
I mean, Eddie?
I don't know. I think he's a top 5 lightweight.
He hasn't even fought at lightweight since Eddie, though, has he? I mean, one at lightweight since Eddie.
Just Khabib, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had one fight at
I don't know.
lightweight
I
since
think he's a
2015 or whatever.
I don't know. I think Conor beats Hooker. I think Conor can beat Poirier. I'm not saying he's going to beat him if they rematch, because I think that goes very
Poirier
differently than the
might
first
take
fight.
that.
What's up?
I think Poirier might take that rematch if they run it back.
Yeah.
I think he might have that.
But
Just out of durability. I mean, I feel like that's how a lot of people also saw this fight going. Is Dan Hooker has about 2.5 rounds to get Dustin Poirier out, because the amount of damage he's going to start eating after that is going to be a problem. Yeah. And I feel like most people, myself included, going into this, definitely had, if this gets to the 5th round, it's Poirier pouring it on. Because that's what Poirier is good at. And, yeah, it played out that way. I'm surprised Hooker was so dominant early, though. That check hook was money. So, and, man, the body kicks these dudes were throwing were brutal. So, absolutely good fight. And I would say probably not my fight of the year. I still think JJ versus Wally Zhang.
yeah, that's got to be it still.
Or Zhang
This
Wally.
is up there.
I always say it backwards. But, yeah, I think that's got to still be the number one. Just because, like, even though round 2 is one of the craziest rounds of all time, I still think there's maybe 2 rounds in that JJ fight that were even wilder. So, yeah, but still, if it's probably number 2 this year that I can think of. So, man, yeah, really good card, and should be interesting to see kind of what's next, because I kind of don't know what they do with this division, like always, because this division is so broken.
Yeah, I forgot. There's no real lightweight fights on the next pay-per-view, right? I don't think so.
I don't believe so.
Which is surprising, actually.
Yeah. What is the next card that's coming
It's
up?
251, right?
Is it?
July 11th? Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because there's no UFC next week.
Yeah, you're right. It is 251 on the 12th.
Yeah, what a card, man. Let me see any lightweight fights. Leonardo Santos and Roman Bogatov.
Yeah, it looks like that's the only one.
That's it.
And that
Wow.
has, like, 0 implications, so... Man,
Yeah, but how about the top of that card,
dude,
though?
that
You
main
got
card is so strong.
Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns, Volkanovski, Holloway 2, Piotr Jan, Aldo, which is a weird fight, but still hyped. Jessica Andrade, Namajunas,
So
2.
excited for that. And Amanda Hebus is going to fucking house Paige Van Zandt.
I was gonna say you got the markability belt on the line between
real.
PVZ and Amanda Hebus.
Amanda Hebus is going to absolutely
You
send
got
PVZ
Volkan
packing.
Uzdemir versus the one light heavyweight champion.
Oh, yeah, Yuri.
Yuri. Oh.
Or no, you mean Ryzen.
Ryzen, excuse me. Thank you.
Yeah. Easy Dos Santos versus Salyakov is going to be good. Makwan Amirkhani's return.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. There's some fun stuff on this.
That's a very good fucking pay-per-view.
Yeah, that should be fun.
I'm hyped, man. Should be good. I don't know when the next lightweight fight with implications is. If you're a boxing fan, I'm very hyped to see Vasily Lomachenko's return against the American champion Teofimo Lopez. I am extremely hyped for that. I think that's happening in September, or like the fall. I know supposedly we have Tyson Fury fighting Wilder for the 3rd time because it was in their contracts with the rematch clause. I don't see how that doesn't go differently than what we just saw back in February.
Right.
Other boxing news. Fuck. There's another fucking fight. Either way, boxing's fun again, which is ironic in a weird, but it's good. I think it's good that it's fun again. So,
yeah, man.
It's the longest time boxing was just like, well, who's gonna lose to Mayweather?
Right. Or the fucking.
Yeah.
God damn it! Oh my god.
Or who's gonna lose to Canelo or Triple G?
Yeah, or Klitschko. God damn it.
The Klitschko's. God,
I was looking. The problem is, right before I was about to say Klitschko's name, I was looking at Shevchenko's name, and I was like, "Oh no!" I was going to combine 14 different versions of it. Oh man, it's so funny that literally on Wikipedia for the Fight Island card, it has a picture of Yaz Island where you can see it's clearly not an island. It's like right on the Wikipedia page. It's really, really dumb. Yeah, man. So
some people are calling it Yath Island.
Right. So we'll be back on the not next week, but the week after for sure. Talk about UFC Abu Dhabi, which is coming up. And then I don't know. We might do something next week. Maybe we'll do a commentary track or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it could be fun. And yeah, I'm looking at this right now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right. It could not be less of an island.
That's a peninsula.
Yeah, like fucking dude. Like,
you know, it's funny.
Shelter
like,
Island is more of an island than
there's
that.
There's a channel. It's still an island.
Right. Like Shelter Island is more of an island than this is.
Yeah.
And Shelter Island is also a man-made island that is literally just like a canal, basically. But yeah, or I guess technically it's a sandbank, right?
Yeah.
Because didn't they build that in the?
Yeah, it's
like,
funny.
around
This
the
is
war?
literally just fight. What do we call it? Fight Rari Island.
yeah, Fight Ferrari Island. Exactly.
Yeah, someone's like, "Is that the Ferrari horse? What is that red thing?"
Ferrari horse. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm zooming in right now. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Jesus. It looks like a fucking Pokemon gym.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's going to be real dumb. So look forward to that coming up. And until next time, everybody, you guys can always find the show notes for any of the stuff we talked about. We'll have links to all that at thesoundofviolence.com. You can always send us a tweet, TSOVpod, or just TSOVpod on Twitter. And we always love talking with all y'all. You can shoot us an email, sovpod@gmail.com. And I think that's it. So until next time, everybody, go do something decadent. We out. Hey!
Liked by the sound of violence.